Hey there, it's Olivia Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and today I'm here to give you my February TBR. My February TBR is looking a little bit ridiculous this month, so I don't think I'm going to get to all of them, but these are ones I would just like to get to or start reading this month at the very least. I also have quite a few carryovers, so what I've decided to do with my TBRs this year is that if I don't finish it in the month of January, it just rolls right over and it's on my TBR for February, and any current reads I just continually bring into the next month. So let's get right down to the books and let's talk about what I hope to read in the month of February. So the first book that I'm going to carry over is A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Brigid Kemmerer. We are in the age of a pandemic, and also Brexit happened, which has made shipping to the Netherlands a little bit tricky, and shipping has just changed a lot. So I only got the email that my copy dispatched yesterday, which is the 30th of January, so it's on its way to me. They say it's going to be here February 5th, and then I'm going to read it, and then I will know all the things. So I'm very, very excited, and I'm just waiting for this one. It's the third one in the Accursed Dark and Lonely series, and I'll leave my synopsis there because I did talk about this one in January as well. Then we have another carryover, which is one that I started last month and I'm going to finish this month hopefully, and that is The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. I am buddy reading this with Nicole from Who Picked This Book, and we are currently sitting at the halfway mark, so hopefully we can read the other half. This is the third and final book in the Daevabad trilogy, and it starts with Nari being whisked away from everything that she's known into this magical world of Daeva and Jinn, and it sounds absolutely wonderful, but it comes with a whole lot of political intrigue, a lot of history that needs to be sorted through, and a lot more too, but I don't want to tell you too much. But I really love this series, and I'm loving the last one just because it's such an experience, and I've grown to love these characters, and they're in such a dire situation that I just don't know how this book is going to end. I have no clue, so I need to keep reading and find out. Up next we have The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang, and this is a graphic novel to do with a prince who likes to wear dresses. However, he has to keep this secret, and he employs a dressmaker for himself to make him some beautiful dresses in secret, but of course things can't stay secret forever. I am only a few chapters into this graphic novel. This is my study cleanser, so when I'm writing some of my long assignments, I usually write a paragraph, read a chapter of this, write a paragraph and read a chapter of this, especially if it's an assignment that's dragging and I just kind of need a little bit of a break in between doing pieces of work, which is why, even though it's a graphic novel, I've been reading it for longer than a month. So that's this one. Up next is Strange the Dreamer by Laine Taylor, and this is one that I'm buddy reading with Vendi from Caught Between the Pages, and it's a fantasy series that I really wanted to get to for a very long time. We follow Laszlo Strange, and he is very, very interested in this city called Weep. However, something magical occurred with the name of the city, and it's a city that's been forgotten, no one knows so much, so he spends his whole life dedicated to researching and searching everything that he can about this city. And when an opportunity arises for him to learn a whole lot more than he ever expected to be able to learn, he takes it and grasps it, and it will take him on a wild adventure. We're also following some other characters in this one, but I will leave the synopsis there. We're only 100 pages in, but the writing is just so magical and the perfect thing for me. If you like the Raven cycle writing, you'll probably like this one because it's dreamy, it's magical, it's very purple and descriptive, and I am here for it. And I love Laszlo Strange's character so far. He's just so sweet and kind and genuine, so I'm looking forward to delving more into this one and seeing the plot unravel a little bit, because that is not where we're at yet. So I also started Brown Baby by Nikesh Shukla, and this one is a non-fiction memoir about family, race and home, and from what I've read so far, it's really about him being a brown person because he's Indian, and how it's like, what it's like with his daughter who is half Indian and half white because of her mother, and the daughter seems to be internalizing a lot of the racism that she just sees every day, and he's kind of trying to unpick that and discuss that from what I've read so far. And it's a very interesting book because I've read a lot about racism in terms of racism towards black people and racism towards indigenous peoples, but not that much about racism towards brown people. So it's opening my mind to some different circumstances and situations I hadn't previously considered myself. I'm also halfway through A Nurse's Story by Louise Curtis with Sarah Johnson, and this one is another non-fiction book where she's talking about her experience as a nurse during the first half of the pandemic, because the pandemic is ongoing and it's very brutal to be reading this one right now. I'm definitely learning a lot about the situation in hospitals and what it's truly like, but she also talks about what it was like before the pandemic, which I appreciate because then it's easing up on the parts that hit too close to home. And I can't help thinking, what is the situation now in the UK, because she wrote this when it was at its peak and its worst in 2020, but as we know there are new strains and such in 2021, so it's a very weird cycle of seeing the past of what it was like, seeing the 2020 present of what it was like, and thinking about what it's like now, and it's all kind of converging in this reading experience. Currently reading a lot of books, I'm sorry, we've got one more, which is Secrets of the Starcrossed by Clara O'Connor in the Once and Future Queen series. I'm halfway, I'm not loving it, I have to admit, but there's still time for that to turn it around and change. I was actually thinking of just finishing up this weekend, and then I decided to relax. I don't need to rush through my books, I've got my sweet time, so I'm taking it. And we are in this world which combines history and future quite a bit, and technology is heavily involved, and there seems to be this plague that is targeting specific people, and the main character that we're following might have more to do with this plague and the powers that some people can have than she previously thought, and there is a romance going on as well, so it's a bit of a mix of things. I can see people who like Sarah J Maas's books really enjoying this one more than I am, but we'll wait and see because we still have the second half of the book to go. And then last but not least, in terms of carryovers, I have Love is a Revolution by Renee Watson. I just didn't get the chance to get to this one last month, so hopefully that will happen in February. And this one is about a black girl who goes to an open mic night with a friend, and she sees someone there that she really fancies and wants to impress, but it turns out he's very much into activism, which she isn't, and she decides that she is going to fake an interest in activism to be with him. But it's about being honest with yourself and honest with those around you, otherwise love is not possible. And I'm looking forward to it, so I just need to make sure I make time to get to it. And then we've got the new books, which I feel is a bit ambitious because I feel like that's already a lot of books that I'm currently reading and need to finish, but nonetheless we've got 3 buddy reads and 1 read-along read, so I put it in the buddy read section. The first one I'm going to get to this month is The Fowl Twins by Eoin Colfer. I'll be buddy reading this with Gaia Athena, and we are excited because we both loved the Artemis Fowl series. I've talked about it a lot on my channel, and this one follows some siblings to do with the Fowls, their descendants, and they're going to have their own adventure. Haven't checked the synopsis too closely, don't want to know too much before getting in, but I'm very curious to see what this is going to be like. Then we have Pet by Akwaeke Emezi, and this one is going to be a buddy read with Shannon from 155 Books. We're both very excited to read this middle grade novel, and it has to do with these 2 children, Pet and Jam, and they've been told that all of the monsters in their area have been gone, but I think they discover that there might be some leftover monsters and go after them, so I think it's going to be really good. I've just had positive reviews and I am so curious. The last buddy read that I'm starting in February and hopefully finishing in February is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is one that I'll be buddy reading with Sabrina from the blog Words of Whimsy, and this is just one that I've been meaning to get to for a very long time. I've just been meaning to try something by Brandon Sanderson, so we'll see how this one goes. I'm curious. I have like no expectations, but I'm curious. And then last but not least, of course, we have a read-along read, and that is Wundersmith by Jessica Townsend, the second book in the Morrigan Crow Trials series. So we'll be having a live show for this one in the first week of March if you want to read along and join us. I've got more information to do with the read along in the description box down below. But yes, this is the second book. I have not read the synopsis because I didn't want to know anything. I'm just diving in blind. It's a middle grade series and the first one was fun, so I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going to go because I feel like it's going to get more serious now, which is going to be interesting. The next one is for a series that I have on my channel called Read It Backwards, where I read series out of order, I read them backwards, and we've got Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters, which is the second book in the Percy Jackson series. It's been a very interesting experience reading this series backwards because there are just so many things that I don't remember that I thought I would have remembered. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I remember of this one or don't, and there'll be a whole video on this, so I'm not going to spend much more time on it here. We've got some review copies that I want to get to. I don't know. We're putting it in this video anyway. The first one is The Office of Historical Corrections by Danielle Evans, which is a short story collection that has to do with a range of themes from race, family, forgiveness. It just sounds interesting, and the reviews that I've seen coming in, the early reviews, seem so positive. So maybe if I can read a short story here and there throughout the month, I can get through this one. Another middle grade. I find middle grade are just such a joy to break up these heavier books, and that one is Alessia in Atlantis by Nathalie, Laine. This one follows Alessia, and she is just a girl in school, and a weird thing happens where she ends up thrown into the sea and she ends up in Atlantis, and when she gets there she finds out that her long lost father might have been there, and she's determined to investigate and find out more. So she enrolls in the underwater school there to be able to investigate and learn more. It sounds like a lot of fun. It's been compared to books like Percy Jackson and Artemis Fowl, so you know, I had to give it a go. The Dragons, the Giant and the Woman by Way to Moore, and this one is a non-fiction book about the diaspora, displacement and conflict happening in the first Liberian Civil War, and it's just her experience with that, what it's like to be displaced from your home, and it just sounds interesting. After reading Other Words from Home, this is a story that I need to look more into. So I've read a fiction work on it and I wanted to read a non-fiction work, so I'm very curious for this one, and it comes out in March 2021. One of my resolutions that I mentioned in my 2021 goals is to read more Dutch books, which means I've got to start doing that. So on this list I'm also putting Snow Engelen by Suzanne Vermeer, and this is a Dutch book that follows these women. They were good friends in the past, then they lost contact, and now they are regrouping after tragedy strikes their friendship group. I am probably going to take more than February to read this. It's probably going to take me 2 months. As someone who reads reasonably fast in English, I read incredibly slow in Dutch, which is why I find it frustrating and usually read less Dutch books. But I'll just take my time, go at my own pace. It'll be my first time reading in Dutch for a while, so we'll see how it goes. And then last but not least, I've got 2 books that I need to read for class, so these are definitely going to happen. And these are my last 2 required reading books of university at all, which is exciting and scary and exciting. But one of these is The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. So it tells the story of Esperanza, who's living in Chicago, and it's just following her life there. And then we have Angels in America by Tony Kushner, and this one is an LGBT plus play. That was how it was marketed to me in class, and that is all I really know about it. But for a play, it's got 2 parts to it, and it's quite long. Longer than any play that I usually read, so that's going to be interesting to see something so long spanning. And they have it. Those are all of the books that are on my February TBR. Too many, but we'll see how we go throughout the month. There's no rush or pressure to get to any of these in particular, in my opinion, other than the 2 for class. So we'll see how it goes. Please let me know in the comment section down below, what book are you planning to read in the month of February. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't you forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!